in the Columbus City Schools that helps abolish human trafficking. So she's going to be my co-facilitator tonight, and thank you all for coming. All right. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. We really do appreciate it. And tonight we're going to do a couple things. First of all, I want to just acknowledge Mayor Michael Coleman, who has given us 10 years of really good service. So let's just give Michael Coleman a hand. We really do appreciate his service. So we would like to start tonight by giving each of you 3 minutes, and we want you to just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us why you decided to run for mayor. Mr. Boyd? Oh, yeah, turn the mic.
Good evening, everyone, and it's good to be here. This is my first time visiting this location, and I was warmly welcomed, and I thank you and appreciate you. Yes, I am Terry Boyd. Lived here in Columbus for about 40 years. Came here to attend Ohio State University. Wasn't my intention to stay here in Columbus, Ohio. But I fell in love with the city. And the city introduced me to my wife. And we have two wonderful daughters that we raised in this environment. I started my professional career here in Columbus, Ohio, in Franklin County Children's Services. I was a caseworker and moved up to caseworker 3 before Mayor Buck Reinhardt asked me to come and work in his administration. I held several positions in his administration and learned a lot under his tutelage. From there, I went on to the Ohio Health Organization. Back then, it was U.S. Health. And I was the Director of Human Resources for their parent organization. Served there for approximately 6 years. Had a tremendous amount of success there. We got into a bidding war with Mount Carmel system, and I was responsible for recruiting physicians and setting up their practices with their employees prior to leaving. I earned my PhD while I was still at Ohio Health, and it was at that time when college beckoned me, and I wanted to become a professor. I did some adjunct teaching at Franklin University, and finally they convinced me to come on board full time, where I served as program chair for their Human Resources Department, but also created a graduate program in Human Services Management. And many of your human service directors that we have in place today came through my graduate program, and I'm proud to say that. I'm still at Franklin University. There I served as the chair of the MBA program. I served as an assistant dean. I won't take you through all of that. I served multiple positions. And I was on the school board. I was elected to the school board after I left the Metropolitan Library, where I served as president of the library system. We created, under my leadership there, the first homework center in our libraries. And after the pilot was such a success, we now have homework centers in every branch of our system. Being on the board of the largest district in the state of Ohio was an interesting proposition, as we attempted to lead, at that time, over 100,000 students we had in our system at that time. From there, we retired from the system because I was dispatched to the Middle East to set up our MBA program in Oman. Another exciting proposition for me. Since that time, I've been serving on the boards of Life Care Alliance. I'm a former board member of Adam H. In fact, I'm a former board member of Franklin County Children's Services as well. I decided to run for mayor because I was tired of our neighborhoods and communities being neglected. I was tired of hearing of the waste in City Hall. And just today, I was in a meeting and I identified literally millions of dollars that are being wasted. Millions of dollars that could save not only taxpayers, but could save our businesses a lot of money. And we could take that money and invest it in our neighborhoods. So it angered me to hear this information and to see it for myself. But that's what we're working with, that's what we're dealing with. I want to be your mayor because I'm tired of Columbus being a tale of two cities. One, a downtown area that is sparkling, bright, vibrant, and the other city, much larger, in our neighborhoods, being neglected, not being focused on by the establishment, and continues to leave us wanting. And so I want to make a change. Turn those two cities into one and make sure that we have what we need for our families, our children, and our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right, well, good evening. My name is James Ragland, and I am running for the mayor of the city of Columbus. Born and raised right here in Columbus, I spent the early portion of my life on the hilltop. My parents, we started off on the hilltop. My father worked for Fisher Guy, and my mother worked for Ohio State University. We had the blessings of God and was able to get some upward mobility. Our next home was a stone's throw right from here on Meadowdale Avenue, right up Leonard Avenue. I spent some real quality time there, and then for Brittany Hills, we moved over to what is now called the Easton area. Before Easton was actually there were only cornfields and an old John Deere dealership at the end of Morse Road before we got out there. So I am a Columbus boy, born and raised. I have spent the bulk of my life as a member of the Oakley Full Gospel Baptist Church. Been there for 32 years. I'm a deacon at Oakley. I'm married. My wife Terry is here with us today. We celebrate 16 years of marriage coming up very soon. Yes, y'all clap for her, not me. And we have two children. My son JC is an 18-year-old senior at Walnut Ridge. He just announced over the Easter holiday that he will be attending Bowling Green State University, where my wife and I both got our degrees. And so we are exceptionally proud of that young man. And then my daughter Nia should be about to start running the 800 over at Linda McKinley today. She's on the track team at Berwick in 7th grade and really progressing very well through that Columbus City School. So I'm a very proud parent. I used to be the PTA president at Walnut Ridge. We resurrected that PTA after about a 13-year hiatus because the PTA had fallen by the wayside at Walnut Ridge. And one of the things that was really impressive to me about the leadership of the school at Walnut Ridge, we had what many people felt was a negative connotation. A lot of folks thought that Walnut Ridge was the Walnut Ridge that existed back in the early 90s. And I know that they had problems then. I was in school, I graduated in 1993. But what Dr. Walker has done is he's turned that school building around. And that's what I'm trying to do for the entire city as your next mayor. We've seen through diligence, cooperation with other entities throughout the community, and faith, how a school can go from a negative school to something that's very positive, sending young people to college, sending them on to careers, sending them to bright futures. I've done that throughout my entire career. I started off teaching, and then I moved from a teacher to become an administrator, went from an administrative role, and then started working at Columbus City Council with then council member Charlita Tavares. Now, one of the things that I learned working from Charlita, you get very little done when you sit on your high horse down at City Hall. You cannot impact the community by thinking that you are so far up and they're so far beneath you that you are the only one with the solutions to their problems. In order for you to be effective as a leader, you've got to get out amongst the people, know them, love them, shut your mouth and listen to them so that they can give you not only their problems, but their ideas on how to solve them. That's the type of mayor that we need. That's the type of leader that we need. And that's who I am going to be when I become the mayor in November of this year. Now, 3 things that I'm going to focus my administration on. Education, obviously. Our babies. Our babies have been subjected to so much negativity that they don't deserve. Spent the last 3 years of my life developing Cristo Rey Columbus High School. Provides young people coming from underserved communities with an opportunity to get a quality education, have some workforce skills, and go to college. I wish and dream for that for our young people. The days of speaking negatively about our children are over.
That's right.
We're going to present them with living examples of what they can be should they choose the right path. We not only have to have a message for them, we have to be a message for them. And I'm going to be one to help promote that. Secondly, jobs. Many of us have a lot of ideas about what we can do with jobs here in this city. I've got plenty of them. Where do the jobs currently exist? How do we get the people who need them out to them? How do we grow the jobs that we need? How do we train people to get the jobs that they're going to need to be productive members of society? I've got all types of plans and we'll discuss some of those today. And then last but not least, community reinvestment. For far too long, I've witnessed as the city has taken resources and targeted specific areas that are a bit more affluent than the communities that I've come from. I've seen, as the city said, we picked the short north of Wyland Park to turn things around. We've picked the Arena District to turn things around. German Village, we've picked that area to turn around. At the same time, they've ignored areas like this. They've ignored areas like the South Side. They've ignored areas like the Hilltop. And for me, if we are going to go from great to greater, then we've got to target those neighborhoods that have been underserved. And that's what I'm going to do as your mayor. I am thankful for this opportunity to come before you today. I look forward to a great discussion this evening and to answering your questions. My name is James Ragland. Thank you.
Thank you both for those comments. I think you kind of sparked some questions and, can y'all hear me okay?
I think you kind of sparked some questions and a couple comments. Does anyone out there want to comment or have questions about what the 2 candidates have said so far?
Hi, my name is Tanya. I have to be honest, I've never heard of either one of you before. I know who the other 2 are, and obviously one isn't here. Maybe they feel confident because of their endorsement already given by the mayor. Okay? I would like to know, you are a veteran. Do you have any plans for our homeless veterans here? Well, I understand we do have some housing for veterans, but let's be for real, there's plenty of downtrodden, homeless veterans struggling to get claims resolved, which you don't have anything to do with that, but I'm talking about housing. And instead of all this regentrification that's been going on for years, what are your plans to rebuild the neighborhoods people who have housing in these areas that are becoming more affluent, taxes are going to go up on them. Are there any plans to help these folks keep their homes, make their homes look better? I mean, anything to help them. Also, is it possible as a mayor to be able to work with the chief of police to make sure that we in Columbus, Ohio do not turn to Missouri, California, New York, now DC? And another
Hold on,
question.
let me stop that because you compiled questions. So let's do this, because I want them to be able to answer. Let me see your question. I want them both to be able to answer those questions, and we'll just layer them if that's okay.
Okay.
Sure. So the first question was about our veterans. First and foremost, I did serve in the United States Army Reserves. I was a member of the reserves from 1992 to 2000 during the Clinton era. I was never deployed overseas, and I believe that that's a blessing from the Lord. I am concerned about the issues surrounding our veterans right now. I've met with quite a few groups that have expressed to me some of the difficulties that they have over at the Wiley facility out on James Road with getting their claims processed, getting some of their health issues resolved. Part of what I feel is the solution for our veterans is making sure that we've got great jobs for them once they return. If you go, you serve this country 3 and 4 tours overseas, Afghanistan and Iraq, and back to Afghanistan. When you do your time and you come back home, you should have a job waiting for you, and not just some measly old job. You should have a great job that allows you to not only reconnect with your family, but help raise them, have quality health care. The homelessness issue is a poverty and jobs issue. Solve the problem with the jobs, our vets will be able to be employed. The next question was about our communities. How do we put resources back into them? Well, we've got approximately 6,000 vacant and abandoned properties here in the city of Columbus. A part of what I have already proposed is providing an incentive for police, fire, to use those houses, to come back, renovate, and live in. Our veterans can be included in that as well. I see my friend Sam McDaniel back there, and these gentlemen back here have done some renovation of some houses that I've seen that's been very high quality. We have an opportunity with the vacant properties that we do have to turn them around and put productive members of society in them. Put families back into some of these neighborhoods so that we can begin to turn the neighborhoods around. The third part of your question dealt with police. Can the mayor and the chief of police partner to do something to create a better atmosphere of trust? I've been working on that. As the chairman of the board of Columbus Area Integrated Health Services, 1515 East Broad Street, I was instrumental in bringing forth 4 community forums that dealt with issues concerning police brutality, community relations, the fact that we only have 400 out of 1,900 police officers living in the city of Columbus. And the community came to us with solutions for these problems. We want more police. We have incentives for them. We have tools that you can use to hire more police that look like us. We want them to live in our community. No longer do we want to see them driving up and down our streets until something negative happens. We want them out of the cars, walking amongst us, on the bicycles, so that we can avoid those incidents like what happened in Ferguson. My first example of a policeman was a man by the name of Cicero Jackson, who lived down the street from us. I didn't have a negative connotation of police because I knew who Mr. Jackson was. But that also meant that Mr. Jackson knew me, he knew my friends, he knew discernment, so he understood what cases need to go downtown and what cases I just need to take you back to your mama so she can handle you. And those are some serious, serious things that we need to get back to with community policing, and I'm going to be the mayor to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I think I have them.
Okay.
It's good to know that my friend James Ragland agrees with a lot of my points. First, as far as military and veterans, and we've already been working with veterans at Franklin University, helping them to get jobs. We're training them in the insurance industry and other industries, and we've created a path for them to get jobs with a lot of our standing insurance companies that exist. But we have to do more of that. Veterans are very proud individuals, and they should be, and they want independence. They don't want to have a home where they share with other veterans necessarily. They want to have their own.
Right.
And so consequently, we're going to provide the training, the basic training that they would like to have, maybe vocational training. We have so many jobs that are available, and we just don't have the skilled labor to fill those jobs. I was talking to a young man the other day. He was talking about all of the automation that's going on. But he said you can't automate putting a pipe together on a sink. You can't automate putting a wire in a wall. It takes labor, and it takes skilled labor. And so one of the main objectives that we will be looking to complete is to reinvent some of our workforce training. Because right now, the workforce training, it's not really relevant to the type of training that's needed. And so we're going to do that for our veterans. We're also going to do that for the homeless. Many homeless people are very proud, and they don't want to share a home with other homeless people. They want their own. And that's what we're going to do. Many of these people used to be professionals. But as luck would have it, they were either laid off or their jobs just vanished altogether. Employers relocated, just as we, with abatements, recruit employers here. Well, other cities recruit employers from here. And so that's another reason why we have to generate our own jobs. We have to create micro businesses that take root here so they don't leave. They can employ those who are here. I have a couple of personal plans that I intend to implement that have been on my mind for years. I just didn't have the resources to get it done. But as mayor, we're going to create organizations and operations, not just for veterans, not just for the homeless, but for those who have been incarcerated, who now want to be re-engaged in society. And so we have a